Hey guys, how's it going? Today's video, I'm going to go through 5 tips that I think can really help a new player, and maybe some old players, do well in their runs and eventually do well in King of the Hill. Let's jump into it. Tip number 1. Just because you found a food shop does not mean you need to buy the food. The food shop will stay there even after you leave this room. It will stay on our mini-map after we leave the room. We can go back there when we need food, if we need food. Our troops are well fed here, so we don't need food right now. We don't need to spy food just because. I know it's tempting, but you don't need to do it. Tip number 2, you can teleport to a room that has been discovered, but not actually cleared out yet. So what I mean by that is this room right here. We found it on the mini-map, but we haven't gone into it yet. We are in the teleportation room over here. We can just click on here. And we just saved ourselves all that walking. It might not seem like much, but if you have an army that's 20 troops big later in the game, you have to feed them 20 food for every single room that they go through. So we would have just fed them when we walked out of there. We would have went 20 food, 40 food, 60 food. We went here, no food, right? So that is a huge way to manage your food and your tokens. So make sure you take advantage of the teleportation rooms when possible. Tip number 2.5. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more Despots Game content. Tip number 3. Class abilities. So each class of troop has a different ability that will be unlocked when you have a certain amount of troops with different items on them in that class. So right here we have an example. I have 2 different cultists on our team, and we need a third one. It says right here, to activate this ability, you need 1 more human of this class with different items. So we have our third. This will be our third different cultist item, and we'll put this on our newbie over here. That now unlocks the ability. So we will summon a level 1 tentacle in our next fight. So let's test it out. Prior to that, our 2 cultists, prior to this, were just doing a regular attack. Now, they're going to summon a tentacle for us. Understanding how these work and getting them lined up with your classes as soon as possible so that you can optimize the damage output or whatever you're trying to aim for is key to a very good run. Tip number 4, don't overinvest in low-level troops. I made an example. Here we are on level 1. And I had the tokens to spend. We've got a low-level fighter, a low-level trickster, low-level healer, low-level cultist, low-level shooter. We got them all. We got low-level everything. They will help us beat this level. That's for sure. They will. You will clear level 1. But in the end, what this has done is it has stopped us from being able to upgrade our long-term mutations. So what we've done is we've spent all of our tokens on a bunch of troops that are going to die in the next couple levels anyway. We are also hurting ourselves on our food. We will run out of food way faster and have to feed them because we have to feed 7 bellies instead of maybe 3 on this floor, right? So manage that as well. You have to keep in mind that these low-level troops are not going to be alive in a lot of cases, maybe even on the next floor. Tip number 5. Starvation is actually the key to having a very successful run. You can see here, I have let my cultists get to the point where they have a massive debuff. You don't always have to let it get into the red, but you don't have to panic if it's not in the green. You don't need to constantly be putting tokens in and feeding all of your troops because it gets very expensive and it makes it very hard to level things up in here. You won't have tokens to spend where you want to spend them, whether it's on more troops or on upgrades for our troops, right? So we can do that, and we can go in here, and we're not going to be... We're winning this fight with starvation, where our troops are starving, right? It doesn't matter. It's fine. Keep your food low. Try and manage it as well as possible, but you don't need to always have this in the green. Don't spend all your money on food, because it will end up costing you the run. So let your troops starve a bit. Anyway, guys, that is it for my tips for beginners. I hope you guys maybe learned something here if you're a new player. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I plan on making a more advanced tip guide in the future. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.